Send us away.
Yeah, well, we did pollute the earth a little bit. Humans basically started to ruin the earth. And so we either sent ourselves away or the machine sent us away. I'm pretty sure we sent ourselves away. But also there's a question based on WALL-E. Maybe the machines were kind of behind the whole thing. Anyway, this is where we end up with cars, where cars, who are now sentient beings, are on the earth alone. But
all vehicles are sentient beings at this point.
Sorry. All vehicles.
Cars, planes.
All of them.
All of it.
Yeah. Although I will pause here to mention Planes is not actually a Pixar-only movie.
No, but the airplanes in the Cars universe are also sentient.
Basically everything is, yes.
Yes.
And so
there was a movie called Planes.
Yeah, it's airplanes.
It's by somebody else.
But no, it's Pixar and Disney or something.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually fit. Any of the Disney movies don't go in this universe, Pixar, Disney movies. But, okay, so humans gone, cars existing in the world all by themselves, but also obviously polluting the heck out of the world and making it totally uninhabitable for, like, anything.
Cool.
In Cars 2, we go to Europe and Japan, which shows the same planet under the same circumstances, so we know it's not just America.
With Michael Caine as the super spy car.
Well, we know that, it's not just America that suffered this fate of suddenly there are no humans there, but there's still human infrastructure everywhere. Yeah. There's still high-rises, which, like, if cars were in its own universe, why would we have these, like, giant buildings?
They're driving around in them. They live in them.
How? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. So
they use the elevator for crimini's sake.
Did they look desolate and then deserted?
No, they're perfectly maintained.
On the outside, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember ever going into like a big high-rise anything.
They do in Cars 2.
Do they?
Yeah, they're totally inside of buildings in Cars 2 because there's big galas and stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where Bruce Campbell meets his end.
But the lower parts, right? Or they go up? I can't remember. It doesn't really matter.
They go up.
Much. But
because Mater has to use the restroom.
That's right. So, to my point, though, that there's no reason for there to be this human infrastructure if cars were the only thing that ever existed in this universe.
Well, again, so yeah, you're right. So obviously the people were there at one point. Now those high rises are obviously being used for storage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. Spare parts, gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the underlying factor that we all know about Axiom. We all know about Allen Oil.
That's the ship that takes people away.
Mm-hmm. We all know about Allen Oil, which is the corporation that, provides all of the oil and all of that stuff in the Cars movies, which is owned quite explicitly by B&L, Big and Large, which is, this huge corporation that runs everything. And they're the ones who run Axiom as well. So, as previously mentioned, of course, the Earth becomes totally polluted. And it's not like we're producing a lot of new oil for cars, so eventually the cars run out of oil and just all die.
Poor Mater.
I do like Mater.
He's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they run out of gas, and do they just park themselves and they're just sort of trapped and immobile, or do they just actually die?
I think they just are trapped and immobile, and then they rust out, because we see in WALL-E, which is what we're going to talk about next anyway, that things are it's just like things have...
Giant trash piles.
Yeah. So they've been compacted down into small little neat piles of stuff. But that's how the world is it's just covered in trash. Which one would assume would be what the world would be like if it was just run by cars and stuff for a while.
Or people.
Or people. Correct, yeah. So at this time, WALL-E is the only machine left on Earth. He survived because he was fascinated with human culture. And he also, has friendship with a cockroach. But he also wasn't above certain types of cannibalism, almost.
I was going to say, I love the side theory that WALL-E is the first robotic serial killer. Did you read that?
I did, yeah, because he kind of is, though. I mean, the only reason, and you see this explicitly in the movie, the only reason that he still exists is because he's not above just literally taking parts out of other things and replacing them. It's like if human parts were interchangeable, it's just like being like, oh, there's a dead body, I'm going to take those eyes because they look like they're in better shape than my eyes.
Right, but the serial killer theory is that he actually kills them all to save himself.
Which he might have.
He might have.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So when he found them and took their stuff, they were
still functional.
No, I thought they were like like, basically shut off at least? Or does he actually pull the plug on himself and then part them out?
We don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea that cute, cuddly Wally was out there just ripping the CPUs out of all of his buddies
Probably.
and taking their parts and pieces.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. But we also see him as, kind of almost a bring humans back to Earth. Back to the Garden of Eden full of trash. No?
Cool.
Yeah. During the credits of Wall-E, we do see, you remember they plant the tree that was the seed that they found on Earth. So they bring it back and they plant it, and it grows into this really giant, mighty tree, which is actually the same plant that we see in A Bug's Life. You guys remember A Bug's Life?
Oh, of course.
It wasn't like 2003 or something when that came out.
I gotta tell you, though, I kind of liked Ants better. I know it's not a Pixar movie, but I kind of liked Ants better.
I don't know that I had an opinion one way or another.
Although I got to tell you, the thing that kind of signed Ants off for me was, I believe, was it David Spade that played the main character in that? It was somebody like that. His voice doesn't do it for me.
Interesting. Anyway, back to me talking. not
Sorry.
you
Yeah,
talking.
come. Sorry.
Well,
Jeez.
you've been talking for so long.
I know, like 20 minutes, right? Basically, the ants, all of Bug's lives have been, they've been extended, and I think a lot of that is due to the Will-o'-the-Wisp's magic that still exists in this world. So that Will-o'-the-Wisp's magic not only has elongated Bug's lives, but also has encouraged a new step of evolution in these bugs.
Oh, boy. That's just what we want.
Right, yeah. Which does actually make them evolve into a different species. I don't know if I'd call it dominant. In the theory, it says they're the dominant species, but I don't think they're dominant. I think they're different. And that is that they eventually evolve into the monsters of Monsters U and Monsters Inc.
This book?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that doesn't work, though.
Why?
Because they're
Animals in
all
general.
of the majority of the creatures in the Monsters universe, Monsters U and Monsters Inc., do not appear to be insect-like. And I would imagine that if they all branched off from bugs, they would retain a lot of insect-like.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yeah.
We started out as single-cell organisms, so we were kind of just amoebas. And, well, we don't look like amoebas today, do we?
Well, we look a little bit like amoebas.
Yeah,
Well,
but
some of us do.
the tree or the what's the word, the split in evolution, where there's that junction, and if they all come off of the same trunk, they're more than amoebas at that point. That's
Okay,
my
so why don't we
understanding.
say that all animals evolved into the monsters?
I will accept that.
Okay, they evolved into the monsters of Monsters U and Monsters Inc., which is hundreds, if not thousands of years after Wall-E.
And A Bug's Life.
And A Bug's Life, which happened kind of close together. And it's, radiation and magic will-o'-wisp magic combined from BNL to
The first
create...
time radiation has ever been made out to be a good thing.
I know. These monsters accidentally wiped humans from the face of the earth. Whoopsies. Whoopsie daisies. But so in Monsters U, basically monsters are taught that humans are like toxic, horrible things.
We kind of
But in Monsters Inc., they're still kind of like that, but I think it's less so. Is like how I feel about it. I feel like the ideas have evolved a little bit, even though Monsters Inc. happened in our actual
are. In our universe.
in our universe. So the problem here, though, is that monsters.
They're harnessing the wrong energy form. Is the problem.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, on accident, they create time travel. Don't ask me how.
Well, Homer Simpson did it, so why can't they?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they create time travel and time travel through these doors, right? Because you guys
Briefly.
remember
Oh, yeah.
the whole premise of Monsters Inc. is that they go through the doors to the human world to
Into children's bedrooms
Yeah,
to
to
scare
scare-
the bejesus out of them.
scare kids. Yeah. I don't know why they're scaring kids. I don't know.
For Scream.
Oh yeah, because it's the wrong kind of energy. That's right. Oh my gosh, I'm getting lost in my own theory. I'm so sorry. But it turns out that's the wrong kind of power, so they can't actually just totally kill all of the humans. But they've accidentally created this time travel thing, and so that brings us up to the end of Monsters Inc., which is the end of our timeline, kind of. But it also brings us to Boo. You remember Boo?
Yeah.
Did you see Monsters Inc.?
No.
Steve, you
Boo
saw
will go.
Monsters Inc.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Boo is this very cute little girl who Sully, who's the big blue monster guy, is
The
supposed
furry
to
one.
be, he's supposed to be, I want to say haunting, but it's not haunting, it's
Scary.
scaring or something like that. But it turns out,
Supposed to be terrifying.
yeah, but she just thinks he's adorable and amazing and wonderful and everything
he
like
is.
that. Because he is, yeah. But she does get, but Sully eventually has to leave and not be a part of her life anymore, but she never quite gets over Sully. Instead, she becomes the witch, you remember, from Brave. Stay with me. How do the monsters travel through time?
Doors.
Wooden doors. How does the witch in Brave travel through time? Wooden doors.
Mm-hmm.
She brings back the Will-o'-the-Wisps magic from the beginning to start this whole timeline over again. She's also...
Inadvertently, I'm guessing?
I don't know if inadvertently. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. I'm not Boo, so I can't tell you what her thought process is.
Boo on you.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. And then she's also the one that leaves behind these little Easter eggs, which is there's the pizza truck that's
From
all...
Toy Story?
Yeah, from Toy Story. The pizza truck is in every single Pixar movie ever made in this universe or not. And Sully, I don't know if you know this or not, there's an image of Sully in every single Pixar movie ever created.
I thought it was Mike.
Nope, it's Sully.
Sully?
Sully's the hairy one. Mike's the green eyeball. I thought it was Mike. Okay.
Sully.
And Sully's
Yeah.
a monster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's speculation that it adds credence to this theory, right? That like Boo is going through on accident because she probably can't really control this time
Travel thing.
travel thing.
Homer couldn't do it.
She's not a monster, so she's a little bit of a monster. So she's leaving these Easter eggs to mark for herself where she's been. So are your favorite things, pizza trucks and Sully? No?
Maybe.
I like it. I like this theory a lot.
Joe, what is your thought on this whole thing? I mean, I know you kind of zoned out there a little bit in the middle, but
He hasn't seen any of these movies.
I know. I like the theory. Sure, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. That's my conspiracy theory.
yeah, I
That's a
just
good
feel
one.
like it's conveniently assembled.
There-
There's some amazing leaps in the
I would say that the
storyline.
war is the only amazing leap in the storyline. I think it's much better than any other theory out there.
See, but here's my problem though: is that this theory he made the book like a year or so ago? Does that sound about right? Okay. Well, in 3 more Pixar movies are going to come out in the next year or so, and what's going to be very telling is if it starts to feel like he is shoehorning them into it, because I kind of feel like he shoehorned A Bug's Life in, and so that's why I think it was very clean and simple when there was, say, 24 movies, but as soon as it started spanning a much greater catalog, I think that's where the thing starts to show its threads.
And here's what I'll say is that I have read a lot of negative feedback about this theory online, and people get really mad about it. And here's
do.
what I have to say about it. It's a fun theory about Pixar movies.
Oh, yeah.
Guys.
Yeah.
There's no, big murder. Nobody's suffering for this theory. I think it's really fun, and I choose to believe that it's true. And then I'll just, keep making leaps with the more Pixar movies that come out. But that's my
There will be a follow-up
cartoon
episode.
conspiracy
Yeah.
You are
theory.
wrong, though.
Why?
Somebody did.
Well,
Wife and
that's-
kids
Good point.
I don't think
in
there
the
were.
dustbin now.
Okay, Steve, you're right.
Okay.
The eye suffered. So, you guys want to talk about some...
Yeah, let's talk about another big cartoon conspiracy.
Okay, cool. But first, let's take a break.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Future.
Future who?
Future you.
Future who?
You. Yes, that's right. I'm future you, and I'm here to tell you it's time to think about what you want to make of yourself. Because why would I threaten all of space and time by using such a terrible joke as a means of communication? Because what you choose is that important and easily constrained by a little time machine. So are you considering going to college? Well, whether you're attending for the first time or going to go back to complete your degree, there are 3 common financial rate mistakes most students make that you can avoid. So you can discover them and also discover Southern New Hampshire University by texting DIRECT to 554433. That's texting the word DIRECT, D-I-R-E-C-T, to 554433. Southern New Hampshire U was founded in 1932. Their mission is to make higher education accessible and affordable for everyone. They're devoted to learning, not profit. Also, they made their campus available to the entire world by offering complete degree programs online. With tuition skyrocketing across the country, SNHU has not raised their online tuition in years. And when you choose to get your education, you owe it to yourself to avoid those top 3 financial aid mistakes. So, learn about SNHU plus those 3 top mistakes I talked about and how to avoid them by texting DIRECT, that's DIRECT, to 554433. That's DIRECT, DIRECT, to 554433. Do it today so future you won't keep making universe-threatening, time and space-threatening jokes.
And we're back. Okay, yeah, why don't you talk about your
My thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is an older series of cartoons.
Because you're older.
A little bit, yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the Coyote Roadrunner cartoons at all.
Yeah.
PETA outlawed that about 3 years ago.
Is it really? Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't be
No, they
surprised.
did not.
Yeah. Some of those old Looney Tunes cartoons have been chopped up a bit because they feel like they're too
There's
violent.
some of them are a problem,
There's some
yeah.
heinous content in there.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
Crows, like that was some terrible stuff.
Crows? Are you talking about Dumbo?
Well, was it the 3 crows in Dumbo? Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't Looney Tunes, so that was like Disney.
But that's just kind of a general sign of the era in cartoons.
Oh,
is really
yeah.
what I meant by that.
There was some more racist stuff way back in the early days of cartoons, yeah. But the Coyote Roadrunner was not like that. They didn't have any black characters, actually. It was kind of lily white.
Yeah.
Actually, there were no white people either, come to think of it.
No, there were no people.
Yeah, there really weren't.
It was just the 2 characters.
But for those of you that haven't seen the cartoons, let me go over it real quick, very quick.
This should take long.
No, yeah. So it's set in the desert of Arizona, and basically there is a coyote, and he, of course, is looking for dinner, and he wants to kill and eat the Roadrunner. And so he devises various methods to try to kill the Roadrunner, and every time he fails miserably.
Mimi.
Usually uses Acme products. The Acme Corporation produces a huge variety of different things that could be used for killing a Roadrunner.
Mm-hmm.
They always fail.
Yep.
And yes, and like Steve says, the coyote will go meep meep, and
The
then
Roadrunner.
The Roadrunner will go meep meep, and like that, and dashes off.
Uh-huh.
And actually, there's a theory out there that Coyote doesn't actually want to kill the Roadrunner for dinner. The Coyote actually hates the Roadrunner because the Roadrunner is actually not beeping. I mean, they're beeping out obscenities whenever he talks. And so the Roadrunner is basically a foul-mouthed little bastard. And he's constantly saying, calling the Coyote foul names. And so the Coyote is naturally really hates the little guy and wants to kill him. Yeah.
All right, there
That's
you
one
go.
theory that's out there.
We'll never be able to watch it again the same way.
So let's get right into it. There are a number of theories about what explains the cartoons. I mean, what's really going on here? Okay, number one, as I said, one of the big themes is that the Coyote is always ordering stuff from Acme Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff usually fails, or he misuses it, or whatever. He usually winds up blowing himself up. If he gets a bomb from Acme, he'll blow himself up with it accidentally, that kind of thing. And so one of the theories that is actually out there, and I don't know who put it up originally, somebody on Reddit maybe, I don't know, but somebody theorized that perhaps the Roadrunner is actually the CEO of Acme Corporation. And so he's in a position to assure that whenever the Coyote orders anything lethal from them, he can have it sabotaged, or he can sabotage it himself. And so he always foils the poor Coyote who's not aware of this at all.
He puts a black mark on his Amazon account.
Somebody flags it, and there is actually a little bit of support for this. Number one, I mean, the Acme products do, unfailingly fail. There's no doubt about that.
Well, no, sometimes they work, but they work at the wrong time.
Oh, there's that too, but they don't quite work the way the Coyote would like them to. And so another pro thing here is, well, there is a picture on the web of the Roadrunner wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah, and as we know, the internet is true.
Yeah, it totally is. And so, but I don't know. I don't know if that means he's CEO, or if that maybe he was just dressing up for his prom, maybe.
Well, if you look at the Roadrunner, the way his coloring is on his body, he could be wearing a Roadrunner version of a shirt with a vest on, because the The colors on his wings are different than his front, so he could have the old school business suit vest on.
Yeah, could be. Or maybe those are just his natural colors. I don't know. But so that is the theory, and it's out there. You will find a video about this out there on the webs if you want to look for it. You won't have much trouble. On the con side, on the anti side of this theory, there is the fact the Roadrunner has a brain the size of a pea. And he couldn't really be the CEO of anything except maybe a nonprofit.
Maybe.
At the most.
That's not fair. That's not fair, Joe.
And there's also the question of time. I mean, how would you have time to run this massive corporation? And actually, it's a massive corporation. They produce all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's running this corporation, and he also has time to intercept all the Coyote's orders and sabotage these products. And he has all this time also to run around the desert way out in Arizona.
You know, the thing is, though, if you think about it, there are world leaders who are in charge of entire countries and yet still have time to spend obscene amounts of their day on Twitter.
That's true. Some
Golfing.
do that. Yeah. There is golfing, too, yeah.
Lots of golfing.
That's popular. That's been popular with a few presidents.
It's true.
Yeah, but still, and last of all, I mean, if he really was CEO, it's not great PR to sabotage your products and then arrange to have it filmed so that the whole world gets to see your products fail in a big way. That's actually, for me, kind of the death knell for this particular theory, is that, why would he do that?
Yeah.
At the very least, you would think he would at least, like erase or paint over the Acme label, perhaps, before he shipped it up to
maybe he's the CEO of a rival company.
That's all. Actually, that is another theory. Yeah. Well, there is that possibility that actually he's not the CEO of a company or anything, but these cartoons were created by a rival company. And actually the company was called Pinnacle Corporation. They supplied the Coyote with all kinds of free stuff that was sabotage, and some of it wasn't even Acme stuff. They just mislabeled it. Yeah, I mean, for example, the missile in episode 29. You've probably seen that one where he launches a big rocket down the road after the road.
Big red one, right?
This was a white one with black markings.
Okay.
In this case.
They've had multiple colorings.
Yeah, essentially, it's following him down the highway, and it catches up with the Roadrunner, and the Roadrunner looks over it and goes, meet me, which we know means you. and then rockets away, and so he's not killed by the rocket. But Acme didn't even make it. It appeared to be maybe an anti-tank missile, and Acme doesn't make those, and so that was deliberately mislabeled. Propaganda, yeah. Anyway, Pinnacle supplied this stuff to the Coyote, which he was willing to do. He didn't really need it because he's a Coyote. He knows how to catch a frickin' Roadrunner.
Maybe.
But he was willing to do it for the sake of being on TV.